We are officially getting toward the end of the college football regular season for the year 2016. Before we get to this podcast tonight, let me just acknowledge something that's kind of important to me and my former high school. Tomorrow night, the Bellevue West Thunderbirds will compete for their first ever Class A state football championship. Good luck to the players that are subscribed to the channel, that watch my videos regularly or occasionally. Coach Huffman and the gang, they're gonna fight hard, and they will not stop till the game is over. Win or lose, it's the best season of Bellevue West football history. Good luck. You got the whole city of Bellevue rooting for you. So let's get straight to the Week 12 playoff picture, because basically not a lot happened last week. Well, Houston did beat Louisville, which I said was going to happen, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad. Now, I did say Houston was going to win the game, but I didn't think it was going to be 36-10. They basically just kept Lamar Jackson in check. In the opening kickoff, that was just a disaster. That kind of started something. It led to the first play of a touchdown from a short field. That basically stole possession from Lamar Jackson. And Louisville just looked depleted all game long. So they're out of the playoff picture. Oklahoma smashed West Virginia. Washington recovered against Arizona State. Colorado defeated Washington State. However, Washington's also play these Cougars. We're setting up for an Ohio State-Michigan showdown, 2 versus 3, a defensive slugfest. I'll get to that at the end of the podcast. So, let's get to the playoff picture. Number 1, Alabama, of course. Number 2, Ohio State. 3, Michigan, who they will play each other this week. 4, Clemson. 5, Washington. 6, Wisconsin. 7, Oklahoma. 8, Penn State. Number 9, Colorado. And number 10, Oklahoma State. Those are the 10 teams that still have a shot of making the playoff. So we've got 10 teams fighting for 4 spots. And everything is still needing to be decided. Even Alabama is not safe at this point. Because Alabama still plays Auburn this weekend and Florida next weekend in the SEC Championship game. Ohio State still plays Michigan. However, even if Ohio State wins this game, they're not necessarily going to have a chance of winning the Big Ten, because if Penn State takes care of business this week, if they take care of business against Michigan State, they will be in the Big Ten Championship game if Ohio State were to win. Michigan still plays Ohio State this weekend, and Wisconsin, or possibly Wisconsin or Penn State in the Big Ten Championship game. Clemson still needs to play Virginia Tech or North Carolina potentially in the ACC Championship game. And plus, South Carolina could give Clemson a huge challenge. Washington's play Washington State this Friday night, and Colorado, and potentially Colorado in the Pac-12 championship game. Wisconsin does play Minnesota, who can give them a run for their money, and Ohio State or Michigan in the Big Ten championship. Oklahoma still play Oklahoma State for the Bedlam next week. Penn State, they still have a chance of winning the Big Ten. But if you're a Penn State fan, you need Ohio State to win this game. Colorado still has to play Utah this weekend and Washington in the Pac-12 championship game. And Oklahoma State still plays Oklahoma. So as you can see here, all 4 spots still need to be decided. Nobody's a lock yet. I don't know what that was. Anyway, so those 10 teams, they still need to fight for those 4 spots. Many hard games this week and next week. These next 2 weeks should be exciting. You can count on that. Now let's get to the story that broke out a couple hours ago. Texas has decided to fire Charlie Strong, to let go of duties for Charlie Strong. Basically what had happened is Charlie Strong just wasn't successful. It wasn't working out the way they thought. Who are some possible replacements for Charlie Strong? I've come up with 3 possibilities. Kind of 3 possibilities, maybe a bold one, or maybe a bold one or 2. Depends on how you look at it. But I've got Tom Herman, of course. And there were Texas boosters that were saying that there is a huge movement to try to get Tom Herman. Because trust me, Tom Herman is going to be very valuable on the market this year. Especially what happened against Louisville, especially beating OU early in the season, and Florida State last year in the Peach Bowl. Tom Herman is going to be offered so much, probably more money than I can see in like 12 lifetimes. Whether if he takes the job at Texas or LSU or Texas A&M, if they decide to get rid of Kevin Sumlin at the end of next weekend. Les Miles. Now, Les Miles is... We're not sure what Les Miles wants to do for coaching, but I could see Les Miles maybe trying to get the Texas job. Maybe try to get away from the SEC for a while and maybe try to rebuild Texas. Because there's a lot of talent around Texas. They get a lot of recruits every year. A lot of talent. But it's just never utilized. The thing that Charlie Strong had, that was his problem. He couldn't utilize the talent. I mean, you had Jerron Hurd, you had Tyrone Supes and Shane Buechele. 3 talented quarterbacks, but they moved Jerron Hurd to a wide receiver. You could have put like Supes as a tight end maybe, or maybe a running back, because they just didn't utilize the talent around them. And that's something that Les Miles could do. And kind of, if this could be bold, but I could see it happening. What if Bobby Petrino from Louisville? I mean, he's good at developing quarterbacks. I mean, he developed Lamar Jackson, possibly the Heisman winner this year. I mean, yes, Lamar Jackson still won the Heisman Trophy. But some bold ones maybe. Do you see Lane Kiffin or Jeremy Pruitt possibly leaving a Nick Saban Alabama team to try to coach the Texas team? Who knows? I don't see it happening, but it's a possibility. I mean, anything can happen. So let's kind of jump into the Week 13 college football predictions. Because there was a thing that said they wanted the picks faster this week, so let's count it, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 matches to predict this week. A solid Week 13. So let's get started with the Thursday night game, LSU versus Texas A&M. Now, the Texan fan in me kind of wants them to lose this game to see what happens with Coach Sumlin. Something tells me if they lose really badly, that it will be the end of the road for Kevin Sumlin, as it kind of should be. Because if it weren't for Johnny Manziel, as I said last week, Texas A&M's kind of the laughing stock of the SEC, and it's no doubt about it. And I see LSU really coming out angry for this game, especially it's a Thanksgiving night game. I think LSU's going to come out really angry in this game. I think they're going to dominate Texas A&M. I don't think it's going to be a ball game. I think it's going to be like 34 to like 21. I think it's going to be a 13-point victory for LSU, and I think this will be the end of the road for Kevin Sumlin, as they will join the fight for Tom Herman. Now let's get to some Friday night games. The next 4 we're going to predict are from Friday. NC State versus North Carolina. I'm going to try to catch the beginning of this game. I think it's going to be a great matchup. But I think North Carolina's going out on top. I just think Mitch Trubisky, Elijah Hood, Ryan Switzer, the big 3 for North Carolina's offense, I think they're going to rise to the occasion. And especially on Senior Day. So I like North Carolina to win this one. TCU versus Texas. I'm picking Texas to win this game because I just think it's going to be the win for the Gipper mentality. Texas has to prove something. However, I think with the whole firing of Charlie Strong, I think that's going to distract them a little bit. But I think they'll still pull it out because I think they'll have enough motivation to finish the year strong, try to get to a bowl game. I like Texas to win this game. All right, Nebraska versus Iowa. This is a hard game to predict because anything goes. As far as Nebraska is concerned, we are unsure if Tommy Armstrong is going to be able to play in this game, if it's going to be Riker Fife is going to be under center. And Iowa, they were off a huge upset against Michigan a couple of weeks ago. And plus Iowa Senior Day. I think C.J. Beathard is going to lead this Iowa team to a huge upset victory over Nebraska. I think it's going to be a really close game. I think we're going to see a kind of a low-scoring game. I think we're going to see about a 20-17 final score. I think it's going to be close. All right, the Apple Cup. Washington versus Washington State. Washington still has a shot at making the playoff. But Washington can play a spoiler. But I'm picking Washington in this game. I just think Jake Browning. I think this is Jake Browning's opportunity to be able to lead a team to the playoff. It's going to be up to Jake Browning to lead this team through the adversity. I like Washington get a huge win in this Apple Cup. I think it's going to be a close game throughout the ball game, a high offensive scoring affair. But in the end, I think Washington picks up the 7-point victory. Notre Dame versus USC in what could possibly be the last game for Brian Kelly as the Notre Dame head coach. And USC coming off a strong win against Washington a couple weeks ago, huge upset victory. I'm picking USC to win this game. I think they can. I think they're still going to be able to finish this year strong. And I believe that USC will get a decent bowl game this year. I mean, this is the season that USC couldn't have asked for a better year. I mean, Clay Helton. I mean, after all this controversy, what USC was going throughout the last year and a half, I think USC is going to get a big victory, but it will unfortunately mean the end for Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. Michigan State versus Penn State. Now, this could be a trap game for Penn State, as we saw Michigan State compete with those Buckeyes really hard last week. They had the game tied with 5 minutes left, but they decided to go for 2 and missed it, which ultimately led to a 17-16 defeat against the Buckeyes. But how much motivation does Michigan State have to win this game? And this is their last game of the year. They want to finish off strong. But I just think Trace McSorley and this Penn State offense, I think that's going to be the difference in this game. And plus, Penn State's defense will rise to the occasion. I like Penn State to win this game. But now what Penn State is hoping for is that Ohio State beats Michigan. Because if Penn State wins this game, they will be in the Big Ten championship game. Minnesota versus Wisconsin. I am picking the Badgers to win this one. Although it won't surprise if Minnesota wins the game, because I think toward the beginning Wisconsin will have a hard time stopping Mitch Leidner, the quarterback from Minnesota, because he can run when he has to. But I think in the end, Wisconsin's running game is going to just completely wear out this Minnesota defense. I like Wisconsin to win this one. I think they're going to get a close victory. They're going to have to earn this one. I think it's going to be 24-17. A Corey Clement touchdown with about 5 minutes left to win the game. Utah versus Colorado. Utah is trying to come off a heartbreaking loss to Oregon last week inside the final seconds, like literally the final seconds. On kind of a controversial call, but it was the right call. And Colorado coming off a huge win against Washington State in the game of the week last week, it seemed like. And I like Colorado to get this huge win and focus. But are they going to be looking too? Are they going to look too far? Are they going to be looking ahead to this Pac-12 championship game against possibly Washington or Washington State? But I think Colorado's going to win this game. I've been wrong about Colorado so many times this year. I've been fooled by Colorado about 3 times this season, I think. I was fooled by them last week. I was fooled by them a couple weeks ago, I believe. But I'm not letting them fool me this time. I'm picking Colorado to beat Utah. I just think Utah is going to be... I think they're going to be mentally collapsed after last week's heartbreaker. All right, the Iron Bowl, Auburn versus Alabama. In this game a few years ago, we saw one of those craziest endings in college football history. But I don't think we see it here. I think the Tide's going to roll in this game. Auburn's running game is great, but it's really hard to run this Alabama defense. We saw what happened with LSU, Texas A&M, USC. The list just goes on and on. But I think the Tide are going to roll in this game. I think this will be a ball game for a little bit, but I just think when we get to about the third or fourth quarter, I just think the Tide is going to roll. I think it's going to be about 34-23 in favor of the Tide. Florida versus Florida State in a huge in-state rivalry in the state of Florida. I'm picking Florida State to win this game because you saw the reaction. Did you see the reactions for Florida when they found out they were going to Atlanta after they stopped LSU in the final play? They weren't focused on... It seemed like they weren't going to be focused on this game. They're too busy focusing on Alabama. And I think that's what's going to cost Florida in this game, because that's kind of what happened last year when they lost 27-2. I think it's going to cost them again this year. I'm picking Florida State to win. Dalvin Cook is going to run all over that defense. I'm picking FSU to win this game all the way. Because Florida, we kind of saw they celebrated. They're looking too far ahead. That's what happened with Ohio State last week. As I said, last week Ohio State they were going to be too busy worried about Michigan, but they couldn't get past Michigan State barely, only winning by a single point when they almost lost that game. So just think about it if you're going to end up watching this Florida State game. Watch for Florida not play to their standards. All right, finally, the granddaddy of them all, Michigan versus Ohio State, a 2 versus 3 showdown. This is kind of a play-in game for the playoff. This is going to be an exciting game. I'm really happy to be able to watch this game this Saturday morning. Just Michigan versus Ohio State. Just think about it. Think about all the hype in this game. At the beginning of the year, everyone said this is going to be one of the games that decided one of the playoff teams. And it easily can. And I think it will. But we'll see what happens within the next 2 weeks. Many questions are going on about whether or not Wilton Spate for Michigan will be able to play at quarterback, or it's going to be John O'Corn having to be under center. I see this being a really highly defensive game. I mean, I like this to be a slugfest. I'm really excited to watch this game. And this is probably going to be the game of the year. I think it's going to be really low scoring. I'm going to predict that this game is... I'm calling it right now. You've heard it here first. This game is going to go into double overtime. And Ohio State is going to win because JT Barrett will be the difference. Because Michigan's defense will not be able to stop him in the second overtime. Ohio State wins 23-20. You have heard it here first. Well, that is going to do it. Out of the 12 games I picked this week, I have the home team winning 10 of them. So this is kind of playing with fire a little bit throughout my pick'ems this week. But like and subscribe to the channel. Comment who you think is going to win these games this week. You can share this video with your friends, family. Share it on your social media accounts. Also, don't forget, you can still ask some questions for some Q&As. I answered a couple in the playoff reaction video last week. And I'll plan to answer a couple more if you have them for me. It doesn't have to be about sports. It can be about maybe any other sport. Or it could be about personal things or like about my favorite movies and stuff. Kind of just get to know me a little bit on the personal side. Just see what I do or what I enjoy outside of sports. Let's do it. I hope you guys have a great night. Once again, good luck to Bellevue West football as they try to compete, as they try to win their first ever state championship in the sport of football. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you next time.